Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Rustl'd for the 1st of April, 2018. Not only is it April Fool's Day, but it's Easter. So I don't know about you, I got to spend the day with my girlfriend and my daughter. Went down to my family's house, had a nice ham-laden dinner, and then, of course, rushed back to try to scramble to find realistic stories to talk about tonight, because today is the worst day out of the year to try to do a news-based podcast. It's horrible, I tell you. It's absolutely horrible trying to find the right stuff, because it you know what? You don't know what's real. Even a couple of the stories looking at tonight, I didn't even know. One of them in particular, I was really unsure of until I Googled it, and then like multiple results came back. And I'm like, aha, this, my friends, is real. This, my friends, is legitimate, and this is going to be an interesting story to talk about. There shouldn't, okay, there might be an echo. Give me one sec. There we go. That would take care of that. There shouldn't be an echo unless it's coming in through the desktop audio and I didn't see it. But there we go. Okay, that should be gone now. Good thing you guys pay attention to that shit, because I've got headphones plugged in, because we'll be looking at some visual media later on and everything else. All right, I want to make sure. Okay, I'm gonna forget this one lady's name, but that's all right. So it's gone. It's gone. They say it's gone, but it's good. It's good. It's good. So yeah, for those of you who were here on Thursday night and I made the mistake, that was a weird stream. I want to apologize for that. I did not realize that Ready Player One was going to run as long as it did. I was hardly prepared for the stream. Ended up being just an hour and a half of outright bullshitting, which was a lot of fun. I had no problem with that. But man, did I rush to get everything done on Friday, and it's just, it's the problem. So what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about ways to expand, as always. So things are going to be a little bit different going forward. If you happen to see the videos that posted this weekend, you might have noticed they looked a little bit on the different side. They looked a little bit more, I don't know, at no point do I want to say they looked professional, because that's clearly not the case. But they definitely were a little bit different. And that's because I took where the chat is right here, you see on the screen, or well, there we go. I replaced it with an image of what I was talking about. Now that's going to be continuing going forward. So when we're doing the taped segments, I'm not going to show the chat on the screen anymore. And but then in between, we'll definitely bring it back up, and in between, we'll definitely talk about that. And the reason why is just because I wanted to look a little bit more professional as it's going out there. And believe it or not, ever since I've been kind of trying to shorten the videos a little bit using the Stream Deck as a way to really help out with that, views have been up and subs have been up, and that, I believe, is definitely for the best. So I do feel that this is a good way going forward. So those of you who are watching the replay of this on Twitch will definitely still see the chat during the segment. Those of you who catch the replay, the VOD of it over on Mundane Chats won't, but that, again, that's totally fine. So there's that. Let's see. You have your volume at full. Let me just double check. I just reset my computer. I'm pretty sure Windows. Yep. Fucking Windows, man. I'm pretty sure they set it back. Let me double check that. No, it's up there. They like to lower the audio every single time. So there's that. Let's see. That should be a lot better. Let me know how that is. Let me know. Let me know how you guys can hear it. But anyway, how was your Easter and your April Fools? Were you able to prank anyone? Did you spend time with family? Did you just not care? That's okay too. Any of you guys go see Ready Player One? Or did anyone here happen to catch my what I called internet chud sports last night when I was battling against Sofane and Fat Pat from Poisoning the Well over Ready Player One? They were not fans. I, however, was a fan. However, I do believe I won that whole debate because they went into the movie drunk. So I think being sober won me that debate. That being said, oh, how was Far Cry 5? I still haven't opened it yet. Been meaning to. I'm hoping. I'm almost done. I'm almost done with Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm hoping that I can get it done this week. I can jump over to Far Cry 5 and get that wrapped up by God of War 4, and go from there. So yeah, Ready Player One was fantastic. I know, one word cheeseburger. I know. You guys changed the DP server to a Danny Phantom server. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty funny. Gotta love that kind of stuff. But yeah, so also I am thinking about, make sure that's paused. Been thinking about doing more of the live stream stuff back over on $3 Theater. So that could be happening. That won't be a 5-night-a-week thing. That's way too much. So I'm thinking like maybe a Monday through Thursday sort of thing. And my theory behind that, because I want to test the theory here. So, oh, by the way, for those of you who follow $3 Theater but don't always follow it, I officially crossed over 20,000 subscribers on that channel. It took me 13 months to do it. I was hoping to get it done by the end of February, but that didn't happen. But I did hit it very much at the end of March. So I hit 20,000 subs on that channel. It's doing really, really, really well, surprisingly, and that's pretty awesome. I really like working on that stuff. And if I'm being honest, for those of you who are curious how this whole game works out, right now, quite frankly, that channel is poised to absolutely overtake this channel in terms of earnings. It's just that kind of enthusiast niche stuff is working out better than general news. So that's kind of sad, actually. That is so sad that I have 160,000 subs with Mundane Matt, 20,000 with $3 Theater. And I'm just like, it's just like night and day. You know what I mean? Like YouTube has a thing against general news coverage, which is unfortunate. So there's that. What's going on, Real Swagness? How are you? You hope $3 Theater hits 100,000. Me too. You know, definitely looking forward to seeing where that goes. I do feel that it's going to hit that, because here's my plan. So what I was thinking about doing was, because it's not hard for me to do like an hour stream. That's not a problem. Doing it at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the reason for that is actually a little bit of a not like it's a little bit of a hack, so to speak, right? So John Campea, right? I don't know if you know who John Campea is. I happen to like John Campea quite a bit, but he does like a morning movie news stream sort of thing at around 8 a.m. right? And he does that, and so he gets his people in there, and he's only on for an hour. So I thought if he does the 8 to 9 slot, I could start doing a 9 to 10 slot, cover a lot of other obscure news, maybe stuff he doesn't cover, and get people in there. Now, the reason why I feel like the 8 to 9 slot would actually work better, or the 9 to 10 slot would work better for me in the long run, is because in LA, which is where John is located, and previously where I used to work and live and stuff, you don't start your day if you work for some of these production companies. I'm not kidding you. You don't start your day until 10 a.m. You don't. And the reason why is because everyone else is stuck in traffic getting to work. So they push some of these production companies back to 10 a.m. start, but you work until about 7 p.m. And so ultimately, that's where you want to kind of find your commuters. You'd want to find the commuters that are interested in movie news, movie information, that are going to work in that field, that are going to be on their commute from 9 until 10. And those possibly they're going to be coming in from 6 until 8 p.m. somewhere in there, which is one of the reasons why, too, when I post my content, I'll post the videos a little bit later in the day. So that's kind of something I've been toiling with and whatnot as a way to really kind of beef that channel up a bit more. Still do this at 9:30, you know, still kind of rush through stuff, keep it around an hour and a half, which is what I want to do, and then do that one for an hour in the morning. So there's definitely that. John Trampia. People don't like John. I like John. I like John. I do. So I did not see some Black Guy's Heineken Light Beer commercial. I need to. Absorb $3 into the main channel. Here's the problem with that. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. It's true. Nobody fucking wants it. There's that. There's definitely that. So nobody really wants the movie news on the main channel. I'd like to do more crazy news, but it's like I'm trying to find, like, today's been really bad for trying to find the top trending stories. I think what I got is going to work out okay. See, Adam Mate here says people generally go for videos on pop culture rather than actual news. Feels like an escape, sad but true. Well, it just depends on the type of news, right? So basically, like okay, so because this channel is more like, let's say, niche oriented, right? So what that essentially, and this isn't niche oriented, like it's general kind of news. So like tonight we're going to be talking about, a woman who got hired to be an African display curator at the Brooklyn Museum. She happens to be white. There's backlash against that, right? So there's that story. And then I've got one about, like, swatting bill passing in Kansas. So those are two unrelated topics, right? One about video game and, you know, and kind of online current stuff. And this one here is like the culture wars and things like that. And then I've got one that's Walmart pulling the Cosmo ads. It's not even, you know, again, that's a totally different genre because of that, because it's kind of, it's again, what I call the scattershot. It ends up hurting me in the long run only because of that, because it's not so much niched out. And whereas $3 Theater covers a fuckload of Star Wars, as well as, you know, Marvel and DC and other stuff too. There's that. And the reason why I want to go do, I would say, like the longer stream stuff is because I want to talk also about TV and other things that I know if I put a video out, people aren't going to watch. That's true. Like some things people aren't going to watch, but I can talk about it there, still engage with people and have more fun. That's pretty much what I want to do. So, Stone Bleeds, you gotta pay the toll if you want me to say the 14 words. That's just the rule. You saw the Last Jedi deleted scenes, mostly trash. That's what I've heard. I heard Geekdom 101 today. He sent me some messages and he's like, oh, you gotta check this out, man. So yeah, I haven't watched the deleted scenes yet. My copy of the Last Jedi is still right here, still unopened. So there's that. I have a problem. Okay, so yeah, yes, I'm a very busy person on the weekends. It's very difficult to set up any time with me on the weekends. Generally midday is the best time for that shit, as my Discord mods know. I am a fucking terrible person to get in contact with in the midtime. But here's the deal, guys. Here's the thing. If you guys want to help support the channel, best way to do that right now is share it around, actually. Put the link on Twitter. Send it out there. Go like, I'm watching Rustl'd with Monday and Matt. We're talking about some crazy shit. Get your ass in here, motherfuckers. Or you can't do that, but you want to throw down some Easter lovin's, right? Or if you wanna do the one day I can sit there and say like, hey, ad block. No, I'm kidding. Streamlabs.com/Monday and Matt. That's a good way to help out as well. See, there we go. The social links pop up. Share it out there. The Digi always out there doing his thing, making my life a little bit easier, and I appreciate that. And I just want to sit here and say before we get into that, so I might have a lot of mods on here, which gets brought up quite frequently, but the truth is the mods, in my opinion, are very much like the backbone of the community that I've been fostering over the last year by doing lots of live streams. These guys come in, they hang out a few nights a week, they have a lot of fun, and they're good peeps, and they help out. So for that, I want to say thank you. It's an Easter salute. I appreciate that shit. And so pay Matt $9.95 a minute like a phone sex line. Why the fuck not? Godfather, we'll talk about Ready Player One too. We can bring that up later on. If we have enough time tonight, I'll try to open it up for the calls over on the Discord, which is command sign Discord in the chat. Which holiday is better, Easter or April Fools? Man, on the same day, it's crazy. On the same day, it's just nuts. It's way too much shit going on. So there's that. Do I prefer sexy women in comics or realistic? I prefer realistic, man. You know what I mean? Because it's like I'm a Kevin Smith looking like a rotund American. The likelihood of me getting you know, if I were single, finding a woman that would be very much like the ones in comics would be, you know, rare, and I'd have to pay for it, like a lot of money that I don't have. But realistic women, I find, like, the older I get, the more attractive a mother is. It's very weird how that whole thing came about. Like, that was a weird realization. Like, I'm sitting there going like, damn, that lady's got like 2 kids. She got them childbearing hips. Not bad. And I'm like, where the fuck did that mindset come from? Where the hell did that happen? What the hell's happening to me? And then it's like, oh, right, I'm getting old. So there's that. But no, I'm just saying, it's like, I prefer the realistic look. Why can't sexy be realistic? Sexy can be realistic. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my things I really dislike is like when I lived in Los Angeles was like all the fakeness that's there, the plastic. You know what I mean? People have way too much surgery. People have way too much makeup on, and they just look fake and they look crappy. I'm not a fan of that personally at all. I don't like fake BS people, and there's a lot of them out there, and especially on YouTube, and especially on Twitch, and especially in other places. And I don't find any of that attractive. I'm sorry. Like, I can look at KC Tron and just go, oh, look, cleavage, and then that's like that doesn't do it for me. But a lot of guys it does it for, you know, because it's like you watch some girl, she gets dolled up, puts on like 8 pounds of makeup to sit in front of a webcam and then play video games. It's like there's a, like, you know, I get that there's an illusion there, but at the same time, it's like, why? You know, like, I'm wearing, yeah, a polo and I have some gel in my hair, but I do that most nights. I put on at least some gel in my hair if I'm not throwing on a gamer tee. So there's that. So yeah. I do not look like the bad guy so much from Toy Story 2, but I have heard that before. And it's funny. I give credit. I think it's pretty fucking funny. So, okay, that being said, it is 9:48 p.m. We've been on now for just about 18 minutes. Just want to quickly double check the Twitter, see what we're looking at here. Anyone's responded to the call, they come on in. And otherwise, we are popping 62 people in the stream. Fan-fucking-tastic. You guys are great. Hope you're having a good Easter so far. And let's jump right into the news, kind of. So, bring up the first story here, which of course is going to be our good friend, the girl. And let me just remember her name real quick. Okay, Kristen Windmuller Luna. Okay, we'll go through this one here. All right. I just redid my stream deck. Give me a sec to kind of like look where everything's at. I just redid the whole damn thing. Okay. Snaps for traps, guys. You know how it is. You know how it is. Give me them snaps and them traps. All right. All right. Cultural appropriation is a hell of a thing. It's a hell of an accusation, is generally what I'm trying to say here. Because I see it constantly. I mean, all the time. There's always going to be calls about cultural appropriation. You can't do this. You're not the right skin color, or the right religion, or the right race, from people who generally beat their chest about equality, right? They don't want equality. We're in this whole weird age now where, like, kind of like, I want to call it like, segregation feels like it's happening, but it's not happening in terms of being forced. It's like completely just brought on by people themselves. Like, I'm going to go and self-segregate. Why? Because they want to be near people who are like them. This is what the culture war has done, essentially. What we have here is this woman on the right. Her name is Christina Windmuller Luna. She's 31 years old, and she's currently the target, not maybe incredibly of a huge attack, but there's been many calls for cultural appropriation. And that is because she's taken over the African exhibit as a curator of the African exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum. And there are people out there that are none too pleased because of her skin color. And that is so insanely sad to me. I believe everything in this world boils down to a meritocracy. If someone is the best suited for a position, then they should have that job because they're the best suited for that position. Putting somebody in place because you're trying to check a box or fill a quota ultimately just hurts the position they've gone into, hurts them, hurts everyone around them, and usually never really ends to work out well. But I do understand the concerns of this particular woman right here, who is clearly not of traditional African descent, being put in charge of this display, and why some people are mad. But according to the news report here, the Brooklyn... Hold on. I hit the wrong button. Fuck. The Brooklyn Museum sparked an outrage in the black community after tapping a white woman to curate its vast African art collection. On Monday, the museum appointed Kristen Windmuller Luna, who has a PhD in African art history from Princeton University, lectures in Columbia University's Department of Art History and Archaeology, and once worked as an educator for the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where she was responsible for adult and college gallery tours in the African galleries. Despite the stellar resume, her hiring left some wondering why a qualified person of color didn't get the point. Ernest Owens here says, seriously, at Brooklyn Museum, there goes the neighborhood for good. And I just find that to be really sad, right? That there's a pushback against this in the way that it is. This girl has a PhD, right? She from Princeton, which is not like a community college where I got my associates, in I don't know if I got my associates or not. I don't really remember, but I went to film school there. Like not the same thing at all. Like if they would have tapped my ass to like gone and like curate this whole thing, then I could sit there and be like, yeah, no, I get it. I'm not the right person for a job. But it's not like this woman doesn't go out there and know her shit. right? Like, you don't sit there and give tours, you know, at colleges and college gallery tours, or speak in lectures, give lectures at Columbia's University Department of Art, History, and Archaeology. You don't become an educator for the Metropolitan Museum of Art without knowing a thing or two about African art history. And the fact that people are mad about this is just funny. It is. It's just so funny because to me, it cracks me up because I'd like to think that we're past this kind of crap, but we're not. We're not. Anyone out there is going to try to find a way to push for cultural appropriation. That argument keeps rearing its ugly head time and time and time and time and time again, when ultimately it should be the best person for the job gets the job. I think everybody wins when that happens. And to be, you know, to sit there and do it any other way, it just feels like an absolute utter disservice to pretty much anyone who's ever worked really hard at something. You know, I mean, we want people who are teachers at things to be educated. This woman, 31 years old, is very accomplished for her young age. She's 5 years younger than me and is like way freaking smarter than me. And she should be given the position that is best suited to her talents. And it just so happens that this 31-year-old white woman has a degree in African art history, has provided lectures for Columbia University, was an educator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and then led adult and college gallery tours through these particular, you know, these museums and stuff. I mean, you couldn't ultimately ask for a better person to sit there and to curate the African art display at the Brooklyn Museum, because not only is she going to have a solid fundamental understanding of what is going on, of what the art means and where it came from, its history, its culture, she'll treat it with better respect than maybe a lot of other people. And simply because she has that love and that understanding of it. And the fact that they're trying to use it against her, at least use your skin color against her, it's just sad. It's sad. And look, to be fair, I get where people are coming from, right? I do. But we have, you know, theological scholars that spend all their time researching the Bible and ancient texts, and they speak at great length, giving lectures about religion, and they might have been born in Columbus, Ohio, and not born, you know, in a manger in Jerusalem, right? Like it shouldn't matter necessarily where you come from. It's that you have a love and an understanding for what it is you're talking about. And that exactly is what she has here. And I do hope that that these people just, man, like pull their head out of their ass and let the girl get to work. All right. That's yeah. That was fuck, I totally forgot. Hold on. Let me see here. Is this? No. Hold on. Let me actually quickly record one thing, because I forgot one thing. I'm going to throw it in there. Hold on. Give me a sec, because I forgot this was there. And the museum responded with, "We are listening." Oh, hold on. "We have been listening closely to the debate about our recent appointments to our curator. Fuck. This is what happens if you do it live and everything else, yeah. "We have been listening closely to the debate about our recent appointments and our curatorial team. We are listening and we hear you. As we think about ways to engage in this conversation with the care it deserves, we want to assure you that you can count on us as ever to continue working deeply on equity and within our institution and beyond. At the Brooklyn Museum, we have a diverse curatorial staff working hard to create exhibitions, public programs, and educational activities that examine the important and challenging social issues of our time. We're continuing to build pipelines for diversity in the arts through school collaborations, internships, fellowships, institutional partnerships, and more. We are committed to equity in all that we do, and we're ever grateful for your support and honesty along the way." Okay. I'm just going to drop that in. I'll drop that in somewhere in between. It may be kind of shitty, but we'll figure it out. Oh, man. Yeah, right? Like, no one ever brings up the whole, like, oh, you're a white person talking about Christ. He was from the Middle East. That's just cultural appropriation, man. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of craziness going on with that right now. A lot of dumb, crazy, stupid, dumb shit. All right. I totally forgot about that because I don't have, because the way this is on, when I bring up the Firefox here, when I bring this up right here, it's a full page. So I should probably, I might, hold on a sec. Let me bring something up here. I'm going to try something. Oh, I did get Streamlabs in there. The Real Swagness, $5, says, I think the only way to achieve the goals SJWs cry for and claim to want is to emphasize the individual and not the group identity. I feel racial divides are growing as a result. Cultural appropriation is a good example of that, forcing the individual to match the group. I completely agree with you, sir. I do believe that we should definitely push for these kind of, you know, these kind of meritocracies. I think we need more people to really kind of come together and make it about the individual, not so much the group. But because we live in such a tribalistic time, it makes it very difficult to do all that. Okay, let me bring this in here. Uh-oh, I hear my baby crying. My girlfriend should still be up though. I'm trying something a little bit different with everything. That looks even-ish. Okay, here, take a look at this. There, I think that looks a little bit better. Instead of showing the full page, it gives it a bit more of a background, keeps in line with everything else. I think we're good there. So we're fine with that. Actually, let me just double check. This is what happens when I troubleshoot live, right? This is how I do. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Hold on, this one is going to be a little bit on the... I can actually... Oops. Okay. Shit. There we go. There's that. I'm just trying to get the next story ready and remember everything, because there's like a lot of info to remember. So hold on a sec. Okay. Okay, so hold on, and I'm just looking at this. I want to make sure I have it. There's like this Washington or New York Times article here. Okay, well, we'll see if I get this right. I might not get it right. Again, we are always figuring this stuff out together. Let's see here. Okay. That one is good. And that one is good enough. Okay. Cool. We are we're going good. We're going good. You guys can't see what I'm working on here, so that's fine. Okay, Ready Player 2 coming this 2020. I know he's working on a book, but the movie is made is about 185 million in its first weekend worldwide, so that actually might mean they're going to do for a movie. Bring this image up on screen. What the fuck you want me to look at here? Hold on a second. All right. Shit. Oh, fuck you, man. Fuck you. Fine. God damn it. God damn it, you son of a bitch. Okay. Hold on. So this is... Okay, I can kind of see what you're talking about here. I can kind of see it. I can kind of get it. At the same time, my hairline is not receding that much, and I'm not as that rotund. I'm not a pear shape. you know, I have a big chest. You know it though, but fuck you, man. Fuck you. You can never say I don't make fun of myself on here. You can never say that. You can never, never say that. That's not me in 10 years. Okay, I will pay to get the fucking hair surgery done. All right, I'm actually looking into getting LASIK at some point. I really want to get LASIK. I want to get rid of glasses. Oh yeah, it's not me in 5 years. Y'all go fuck yourself. Y'all go fuck yourself. Just go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. You sons of bitches. This is why I can't have nice things. This is what's going on. You guys are screwing with me here. You guys are screwing with me. You sons of bitches. Oh great. Fuck you, Digi. Fuck you, you son of a bitch. Alright, let's get into this. Let's do the second story here. Here, I'll go Scarlett Johansson while I work. Okay. Let me make sure I've got this up. I want to make sure I have this on the right fucking thing. Okay. Oh, god damn it. Hold on, I forgot one thing. All right. Okay. All right, we'll figure this thing out. All right. There was an interesting kerfuffle that happened over at Walmart last week where they announced that they were going to be removing Cosmopolitan magazines from checkout lines, mostly because of claims of like the Me Too movement. No, hold on. Fuck, I fucked that up. Hold on here. I forgot this thing. Okay. It's not the Me Too movement. They didn't do it. Someone else said that. I fucked it up. How did they... Okay. This is like this. Yeah, this is one of those ones where I would very much like to read it first. Or like read it on air because there's a lot going into this thing. I know I fuck up all the time. Okay. Is what it is. There was a... Fuck. It's always the first night back. I always fuck up the most on the first night back. All right. Yeah, okay. I got it. There was a pretty big upset last week at Walmart. I don't know if I'd call it an upset, but definitely some ruffled feathers, so to speak, over the decision from the retailer to remove Cosmopolitan magazines from checkout stands. And the reason why was pretty much just because of moral crusaders that were pushing the idea that Cosmopolitan is all about indecency and it hypersexualizes women and it's bad for children. I mean, hell, one of the people who helped spur this thing through, at least from an activist standpoint, went out there to claim that this essentially was part of the Me Too culture. Because Cosmo leads to sexual harassment and rape? Never heard that one kind of been uttered before when it comes to a deposition of a potential rapist or an accused rapist. I was just at the store and I was reading Cosmo when I looked at Scarlett Johansson's cleavage looking me back in the eye and I just went, I must go rape. You never hear that because it's fictional. It doesn't exist. But this, of course, is the world we live in, where these morality crusaders, these anti-pornographers will literally say anything and everything to get their way. And then when they do get their way, when they get that slightest inch, they run with it and they make it, you know, they do the mile lap, you know? We did it! We got them! We got Cosmopolitan taken off the... Except it's not off the store shelves. Not yet, at least. it's definitely out of not going to be sold at the checkout stand. Now Walmart, I mean, come on, you know, they're not gonna put it there at the checkout stand, you know, right next to Women's World Weekly or the National Enquirer, which right now is running an article about how the Queen of England hates Meghan Markle, or how bad Hillary Clinton is and how awesome Donald Trump is. You know, real hard-hitting, truthful journalism. Now, I'm not saying that Cosmopolitan is in any way real hard-hitting journalism. It's essentially like 30 pages of information surrounded by 150 of ads. It's not a magazine for me. But they have stuff here like 50 best beauty buys, right? Or how to please your husband with anal. I don't know. They're stupid things that housewives pick up when they're reading them and they think that no one's around and they look for new ways to spruce up their life or something along those lines. This essentially is what Cosmo is. It's really not that big of a deal. But there's been this campaign, this crusade by the same people that are kind of claiming the victory here ever since 2015 to go after Cosmopolitan specifically, right? Specifically. And this actually has a lot to do with the granddaughter of William Randolph Hearst, Victoria Hearst, who is very much pushing this initiative. Now, it says here... Oh, what the fuck? Hold on. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh my God. Okay. Now it says here that Miss Hearst, who now runs Cosmo Hurts Kids campaign aimed at stopping the sale of the magazine to children under the age of 18, was not involved in the center's current push. But the group, which was founded in okay, so I did fuck that one up. She's not involved in it currently, but they're definitely the type of people that were involved in this kind of stuff before. Now this type of group, hold on. Okay, see, I did fuck that one up. God damn it. Let me go back, take a quick look at this, because this is what it... Because the way that the article made it look is that they, okay. Alright. Shit. I might have grabbed the wrong section. This is what happens when there's really long ass articles and it's like a lot of info that's like out of order chronologically, so it just kind of throws me off. Okay, because this is a pretty long article. Where am I at there? I'm sorry guys, I feel bad because I hate fucking up like this. Okay. Okay, so I got it screwed up here. So it says that the organization started a campaign to get stores to shield it. This would be the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think I can go back and fix it. All right. I know, I feel bad. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let's try this again. All right. Now, the organization that claims to have victory here is the... Oh, fuck, I forgot what it's called. This is... Oh, man. National... What is this one here? The National Center on Sexual Exploitation. That's okay. National Center on Sexual Exploitation. I know, this is pretty fucking bad. It's technical difficulties. It's not so much technical difficulties. It's like I thought I had it locked down as to what I was going to say. Because I read through the articles first, and I get a general outline of what I want to say, and then I go with it. And then this one... Because I misread one line and I misassociated who was with who, I fucked up my flow. So there's definitely that. That's why this stuff gets cut down in the editing bay. That's why. Take the 5. I know. Okay. I know. Okay. We'll try this again. All right. So, National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Okay. Fuck it. We'll do it live. No. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, the group that's really taking credit for this is the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, who has been pushing back against Cosmopolitan in Walmart for quite some time. But this isn't the first time that a movement has been made against Cosmopolitan, especially in stores, and that's where we find out more about Mrs. Hearst, Victoria Hearst, who is the granddaughter of William Randolph Hearst, the man who, Hearst Media, Hearst Publishing, is who owns Cosmo. So it's kind of like a family attack on it. It says here, Miss Hearst, who now runs a Cosmo Hurts Kids campaign aimed at stopping the sale of the magazine to children under the age of 18, wasn't involved with the center's current push. But the group that she was with, which was founded in 1962 and was previously known as Morality in Media, has continued to focus on Cosmopolitan, in part, Miss Halverson says, because the magazine was targeting young girls with its messaging. A young teenager who first picks up Cosmo to be attracted to the bubblegum pink cover and to hear stories about Selena Gomez in One Direction. But within the covers, Cosmo is filled with extremely explicit articles detailing things like sexting, pornography, group sex, public sex, and other forms of risky sex that are actually a lot of young girls today are being pressured to do before they're ready. And look, I understand where they're coming from, right? I have a 4-month-old daughter, and I fear for that in the future, like that her feeling she needs to be pressured in anything. And I'd feel the same way about if I had a son. Children, and sometimes, yes, they do feel pressured into these things. But at the same time, how many children have grown up reading Cosmopolitan in the bathroom? Right. I remember when I was a child, we had the bathroom, and it had the little magazine rack, and inside there was my stepdad's. I think he had just a general Sports Illustrated, and my mom had a Cosmopolitan or whatever the hell it was. And if I'm in there taking a number 2, I'd be like, oh, let me thumb through. And then when I hit the age of 15, around that point in time, it served dual purposes. But I'm not getting down that path. I'm just saying it's not as bad as they're making it out to be. When you have the Morality in Media people coming out, right, trying to push this cause. I understand they don't want children exposed to sexting or pornography or group sex or freaky deaky public sex or anything like that. And for that, I'm okay. I get where they're coming from here. But at the same time, Cosmopolitan is not going to be the person to teach, or the entity to teach these kids the birds and the bees. That should still be left to the parents. Right? But it's not like people who go to Walmart now are not going to be able to go get Cosmo. I was just at Walmart a few hours ago, and I decided to take a stroll through the periodical aisle to determine whether or not I could still buy it. And yeah, the latest issue featuring Cardi B is still on sale, and that's not going anywhere. They just got it removed from the checkout line, from the impulse buy line. But if people out there, if women out there, very much want to go and get Cosmo, they're going to be able to go and find Cosmo. And I just find it funny that they're all against the sex side of things, right? The sex positive side of things, but they're totally fine with, National Enquirer running the salacious BS fake news that it does. Or the fact that you have health magazines out there that are featuring Dr. Oz on the cover, and this dude's a known liar and a known philanderer and a known just pusher of false and fake information. That's okay because it doesn't have tits. And I don't know about you, but I like tits. And I'd rather there be more tits than less tits, than people selling freaking stupid dumbass crap like the National Enquirer and whatever the hell else it is that, tabloids up the checkout line. All right, I think yeah, Teen Vogue is jumping into some other shit now. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. I'm gonna edit the fuck out of that video. Jesus Christ, I feel bad. I hate when that happens because I'm like, I knew what I wanted to say, and then I fucked it up, man. I fucked it up. Okay, but this next one, let me just make sure. All right, when did that happen? I just want to make sure I have my dates ready for this next one here. And, okay, let me have my dates. Okay, that was the end of last year. Okay. All right. Cool. The non-binary wants to remove tits. I know, right? Who doesn't love tits? Everyone loves tits, man. Everyone loves boobies. Okay, cool. We're up to 75 people watching. That's fantastic. So, all right, let's jump through this shit. Let me just get in. We're 2 down, 2 to go. We're getting into the final stretch here tonight. Remember, if you haven't already, hit them snaps, command sign snaps. Get me up there. We're currently looking at least over 330, I think I saw. Or if you want to support the channel, bits. Try bits. Bits are good for breakfast. It's hearty. It's filling. It makes you feel good and gives you a proper bowel movement. At least I like to think. But all right. And in Chelsea, yeah, I heard that Crash Override was in fact nominated for a Hugo, and I cannot believe that. It's just, I cannot believe that. Jesus Christ, I heard about that. It's so stupid. Okay, let's get into the last story here. All right. Oh, I'm on this one. Okay, cool. We'll do that one. All right, this one's gonna require a little bit of ocular, because we're gonna be listening to something here in a few. So make sure that's ready to go. Okay. Over the course of the past, I don't know, I want to say 1.5 2 years, it feels like now, we've been hearing this one particular phrase that just grates every professional journalist to no end. And that, of course, is fake news, right? Donald Trump, 45th president of the United States, has made that term just wholly popular. And it's misused time and time and time again to deflect from valid criticism, at least in regards to Trump. But what we're seeing now is this thing that it's scary. It's actually legitimately scary to an extent. And that what you're seeing here in the image on the screen to the right is just clips of Sinclair Broadcasting. It is a broadcast company that owns 200 different outlets around the United States. And they're currently getting mocked heavily for having sent out this particular PSA that they made every single one of their stations repeat verbatim. The only difference is that the call sign in the video or in the speech was just put to the local affiliate. And it was pretty crazy because Deadspin actually came together and talked about, and they show it. We're going to watch the video here in a second, but they talked about this. And it's really creepy to watch play out, because there was an episode of last week tonight from July of 2017 where John Oliver does go pretty heavily into Sinclair, and it does get pretty creepy, because what you've learned is that they send out like terror alerts and these other things that they're forcing these stations to run, and the stations will sometimes run them around like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when a few people are watching, but it's clearly designed to spread a certain narrative, and it's clearly designed to elicit a certain reaction. And when you see this particular thing, it is straight up crazy. But first, so what we see here is earlier this month, CNN's Brian Stelter broke the news that Sinclair Broadcast Group, owner and operator of nearly 200 television stations in the U.S., would be forcing its news anchors to read a promo about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country. The script, which parrots Donald Trump's oft declarations of developments negative to his presidency as fake news, brought upheaval to newsrooms already dismayed with Sinclair's consistent interference to bring right-wing propaganda to local television broadcasts. And taking a look here, just pay attention to this.
Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Okay. I gotcha. Man, I am having just this is a clusterfuck of a night. Or is it? Or am I just trolling everyone here? Okay. I forgot that I muted it. Oh man. Sound? Was there sound on everything else? There was sound during that this is fun. This is fun. No. It's I was watching the chat blow up and I was trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Okay. No, there was sound. Okay, clip was fine. Good. Clip was fine. I'm good with that. Okay. I'm not going to play it again. No. I'm not going to play it again. The sound stopped when I came back because I had muted the microphone. I had the headphones plugged in, so I wasn't seeing them. Okay. All right, let's try it again. Editing's going to be a lot of fun on these. Oh my gosh. Danger to our democracy. Yeah, I can see where they're coming from on that one. It almost feels like fake news is a danger on our democracy, which it truly is. It really is. If you're able to lie and get people to believe the lie, then ultimately, yes, that's very much a danger to our democracy. And I feel that when it comes to the current presidential administration, man, they like to lie. Ooh, they love to lie on that one. But these organizations, you could tell just from that clip, there were a few people there that were just trying to stomach their way through it. They were just like, it's a danger to our democracy. Can I go home now? Is it done? Can I get this over with? Other people were trying to lay on like it's a danger to our democracy. And some were just very much just trying to get the hell through it, right? And you have to know that these people, that these guys absolutely positively do not approve of this kind of stuff. The local homegrown journalists, they take their job seriously. And it does feel in this current day and age that the attack on the Washington Post and the New York Times and CNN and MSNBC, calling it all fake news and trying to discredit it that way, it does seemingly have a bit of a trickle-down effect. Because where you see a lot of these stations are in the heartland, right? They're in different markets, probably I would say in every major city that go out to a lot of people in rural America. If you looked at the clip that I showed you guys, there's a lot of Fox affiliates out there, and these people are going to be targeting, well, Republican voters, and Republican voters very well know the term fake news, and usually because it's being used to try to discredit something that isn't always 100% fake news. But the way that it's taught, the way that they're shown this information is. So this particular type of broadcast is very frightening. It's very freaky to watch it played out like that, where it's like bam, 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 and you hear it just, the audio the same. I mean, sure, they synced it up for maximum effect, obviously, but it's definitely It's definitely a fake thing too. And the problem that it comes from ultimately is right-leaning media, especially coming from Sinclair, is trying to push an agenda. And they're trying to they're basically forcing their employees to spout propaganda because they want to create a certain narrative and they want to push a certain agenda. And that is scary to me. Now, look, I understand people out there have their own political opinions and people out there have their own political biases, and that's going to come through in one way or another. And I don't think there's anything we're ever going to be able to do to get around that 100%. But at the same time, when you run a journalist news outlet, when you run a news outlet, your job is to be objective. Your job is to be balanced and truthful and fair. But when you force your employees to stand in front of a camera and read off a script that sounds like it was going to be delivered by a person who is, get a knife to the throat by ISIS, it really doesn't do a lot to bring faith and trust to what we have in terms of a journalistic integrity in this country. And our journalists are already under attack as it is. It is. It's very true. People watch the news and they see these stories, they see these claims of fake news from particular outlets that are trying to push an agenda, and then they look at their local affiliate, who they get most, like probably 90% of their news from, and they start distrusting the local affiliates. That's never a good sign. Not everyone who was in this video is definitely on board with what Sinclair is up to, but at the same time, they have a job. And they have to do what their bosses want, and this is what their bosses want, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully now someone from Sinclair will come forward and talk about what really goes on behind the scenes to give us an understanding, an idea of just, well, either how bad it is or how fake news this whole story is to begin with. Okay. That should be that one there. Okay. Man, that's fucking there. You have to ask yourself how much of what they did there is a monopoly. That's my question. Okay. Yeah, I don't think you should be able to put words in publications' mouths either, but they do. But they absolutely do. So, okay. All right, it's not chat time yet. I have one more to do. So we'll get into that one here. This one will be a lot easier. Again, like the stories today were just kind of all over the fucking place. So I feel like, and I just changed everything up again, right? So it's my first time doing it live. So like, it's hard to there's going to be lots of edits, and not my usual style, but that's okay. That's okay. I appreciate you guys sticking with me on this one. I appreciate the 74 of you watching right now, hanging out, having a good old time. Hope you guys are having fun. Remember, streamlabs.com/mundanemat. Patreon/mundanemat. That's right. I'm a pimp it. I'm a pimp it. 1 second. Just want to make sure I'm correct on this. Hold on. I'm un momento. Okay. Cool. Okay, we're good. We are fine. We're good. I just want to make sure that was okay. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm also going to put some soundboards in here too. I want to get sound on here. We'll do I want to get some sound buttons. I can go like bow 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 bow, throw in some little bit of fun, right? Like throw in a soundboard for like who let the dogs out? Who, that sort of thing that nobody wants to hear, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's more fun. Uno momento pervy whore. I like that. I do like that quite a bit. Okay. So remember, for the Jesus fucking Christ, the people in the Discord, even my head mods are in the Discord. All right. Okay. So, okay, let me just hold on here. Let me just, as I'm getting the same prep, let me reach out to Porcelain to ask her if she can you put a... Alright. I did not expect there to be that many people. I'm going into my JF Gallipy voice. So, the Discord memes wreck homes. Yeah, it's true. I have accumulated 353 traps. Nice. I don't know what happens if I hit 1,000 traps. It's going to be the night of 1,000 traps. It's going to be the next Rob Zombie horror film. All right, let's get into the fourth one here. There we go. What's really funny is too, if I do this, right, it's like the same backdrop. There we go. That was the new one. So it's literally just like the same one, right? It's just the same one. So I like to copy myself. What can I say? Okay. Snap it out, people. Snap it out. It's been just a bit over 2 years since I was swatted by some anonymous douchebag online. And that's why this particular story is very, 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 fuck. Not my night. Not my goddamn night. Okay. You know, it's been just over 2 years since I was swatted, which is why this particular story hits very home for me. When that anonymous douchebag picked up the phone, called non-emergency dispatch, and told them that I had bombs strapped to my kids' necks and that I was going to blow them up, and then called back and said shots fired, the SWAT team responded very quickly to my apartment and scared the ever-loving crap out of me. Now, it wasn't this particular douchebag on the screen. No, this is 25-year-old Tyler Barris, who is known as a serial swatter. This guy is the one who put in the call to Wichita, Kansas in late December 2017 and had a man named Andrew Finch killed accidentally. I don't want to say had him. It wasn't his intent, but ultimately it's what happened. Now, Tyler is up on manslaughter charges, and he's currently in Wichita, and he might even be extradited to other places once this particular trial is completed, because this is a dude who did this frequently. And anyone who works in this particular online space looks at this particular guy and they think, oh, good, he's going away for a long period of time. But not just that. The result of what happened here with Andrew Finch's untimely, unfortunate, utterly avoidable death is that there has been just a little bit of good that's come out of it. And that's that Wichita or Kansas has passed a new bill, an anti-swatting bill. Now, it says here that Kansas lawmakers have approved tougher penalties for making false calls to police 3 months after an officer fatally shot a Wichita man during a deadly hoax emergency call. The Wichita Eagle reports the bill makes fake calls that result in death a felony compared to second-degree murder. Any false call for emergency help would be at least a misdemeanor, becoming a felony if the caller uses a fake identity or electronically masks their identity. The practice is known as swatting and occurs when somebody makes a call to police with a false story of an ongoing crime in an attempt to draw a large number of police officers to a particular address. The bill is being named the Andrew Finch Act after the man killed by Wichita police as they responded to a hoax emergency call in December that they thought was a hostage situation. The legislation was championed by his mother, Lisa Finch. Senator Lynn Rogers says perhaps passing this bill will give her a little peace. And that's true. Passing this bill will give her a little bit of peace. And if I'm being honest, passing this bill will also give people like me a little bit of peace. It won't do much to impact me now. It won't do much to change what happened 2 years ago. And the person who did it is still not caught. And in fact, it could be this guy. I have no idea. We know that he was a person who did this quite a bit. And if it turns out that in the course of trying to save his own skin, he maybe pleas out and tries to, bring down other people that he would know who have done this. Because let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's be realistic here. Someone like Tyler has people who does this, right? Has people who very much are in this game as well. I'm sorry. I believe there was an absolute reason Keemstar was able to get to him so quickly. Now, I'm not saying Keem was involved in any way, stretch, or form, but he happens to know people that are pretty shady, from my understanding. Stories I have been told over the course of the past couple of years very much back up this entire interview where he talked to him about this, because that's how he knew him, through connections. Maybe. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's what it feels like to me. And the thing was, when this guy was talking to Keem, when this guy was being interviewed, he had no guilt, no remorse over what happened. This man who had previously called in bomb threats to gaming events, swatted other people, he had no remorse. He didn't care. Not one damn bit. Even when it resulted in the death of somebody else, did he have very little remorse for what actually transpired. It wasn't my fault. I'm not the one who pulled the trigger. No, but you're the one who was brought in to swat somebody who had lost $1.50 in a goddamn Call of Duty match. And that is ultimately true. This the saddest part of this story is that a man is dead over $1.50. And when it's all said and done, there is a bill passed in his name that will help make it a tougher crime when these things are done in Kansas. And the sad thing about this too is that even though this man did this crime in California, California legislators, as far as I know, have not also been tracking down the same bill. It took legislators in Kansas, where the crime took place, or well, I should say the crime was completed, to step up and make this kind of thing tougher. Now, those of us who follow the internet news, and those of us who do this kind of job where we are a public figure and we talk publicly, we know the risks of it. We know what might happen. We know that around, any random phone call could send cops to our door. Anytime somebody's mad at us could send cops to our door. And we know cops come guns blazing when they feel like there's a hostage situation. They come fully loaded, fully kitted out. And it just so happened that this guy, Andrew Finch, was unlucky. Only way I can say it. Unlucky. So at least now there's some hope that other states will actually come through on what they say. Because when you hear about swatting and legislators get involved from those particular areas, like, oh, well, we really want to crack down on this type of cyber harassment. This type of cyber violence. We really want to make sure this kind of thing never happens again. And it took a man dying for one state to act. Does that mean now that it's going to take a man to die, or a woman or a child to die, in every single state for legislators to act? Is it going to require someone to call the cops to my place in order for me to be shot dead, for the state of Washington to act? Not only protect people like me, but all my YouTuber friends who live here, or anyone else who streams? Is that what it's going to take? Now, I applaud Kansas for doing this. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I absolutely positively want every other state and country to look at this and to start enacting these type of laws. Because what Tyler did was not hard to do. He knew the playbook because he had done it multiple times. And I know there's the argument that the states and that the cities and that the police aren't equipped to handle these type of things. And to some extent, I agree. But changing the law to make this kind of crime stronger and tougher might be the deterrent that is needed in order to save a life. Because as we see year after year of cops killing people unarmed accidentally because they thought they saw a gun, nothing's ever really done about that. Andrew Finch, a father of two, shot dead by Wichita police because they thought he was going to kill his kids or thought he was going to kill his mother and his stepfather. Because that was what Tyler Barris said to the cops on the phone in one of the most cold and calculating phone calls I've ever heard in my entire life. I know that the law, this new bill, when it goes to the governor, will be signed in, probably won't be able to be retroactively placed against Tyler Barris, who right now is facing second-degree manslaughter instead of a first-degree charge. But I hope that this passes in other places, and I hope that they stick it to him and anyone else who tries to commit this type of attempted murder, because there is no other way to describe it than that. Yeah. It's not a federal crime. It should be a federal crime. So, just saying. Just saying. I've made the appropriate phone calls that I need to make in order to protect myself in this particular regard. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. So, okay. All right. Okay, so we'll do about 20-30 minutes of calls. We'll do call-ins real quick. So, Porcelain is the person to speak with on that one. She's going to feed me the information, and then I'll drag you fuckers in. So we'll go from there. And if you guys want to jump in, it's Discord right here. You come on in and join up and come into the general chat, and we'll be good there. Will Wheaton is the new Steve Shives. I completely, he's kind of been Steve Shives before there was Steve Shives. So there's definitely that. Okay, let's go in here. All right. Okay. So I'm going to. All right. Okay. So we have Steph. Who's this here? Steph Kentis. He wants to. Let me just make sure I'm logged. I'm in the right room here. Okay. All right. Let's bring him in. Maybe he's here. I know he had to step out for a second, so we'll move him in and see what's going on. Hey, Steph, you there? Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. Doing an all-nighter.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, no kidding.
So what's on your mind?
Well, you mentioned the cultural appropriation issue early on. It reminded me of a kimono exhibit. I believe it was in Toronto or something. But they got upset with it because it was showing Japanese garb and the like, and that this was considered commodification of Japanese culture.
Just for showing a kimono display?
Yeah, well, they were displaying like a series, like a kimono manufacturer made a whole bunch of them for display, and there was a conundrum I presented based on because the topic came up at a group on my campus, and I suggested a challenge to call out culture that might be useful for people who ever have to deal with this. And that is that some cultures, like in Japan, it is a expression of culture to give culturally significant objects to foreigners, which would be considered cultural appropriation by most activists today, unfortunately. So the question is, if you're given or offered such an object, can you accept it? If you do so, then you become guilty of appropriating culture and people can call you out. If you don't, then you're actually guilty of cultural silencing or colonization. So you're stuck at a catch-22 with that binary black and white way that people are looking at cultural appropriation.
Yeah. Now, with this kimono thing, are you referring to the whole Kimono Wednesdays event from the Boston Museum of Fine Arts? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not that. It was an actual exhibit on them.
Hold on, I'm trying to. I want to have some context.
Hang on, I can send you an article on it.
Yeah. Let's see, because I just want to know some context of this one. All right, kimono to cultural appropriation. All right. Yeah, if I'm going to get there, but no, oh, pardon. It's definitely true. You've got people out there that are you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, is the best way to describe it, because they want you to be on their side, and if you do, then you're generally kind of going to be going with a crazy ass narrative. But if you don't, then you're kind of persona non grata to them, and they unperson you or they try to deplatform you.
Well, yeah. The reason I mentioned this is because I used it in one of these groups, so I've made a point for a long time to kind of try and walk in both spheres and talk to both. And if you throw that conundrum, I found that they had a very hard time answering it. They came up with the solution of, you can accept a kimono from someone in Japan as a cultural expression, but then you must conceal it forever, basically.
What the hell's the point of that?
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing, is that they were trying to find a way. I put out a CPL argument, you know, a complete, I would say mathematic, but I drew out the logical argument, and they had to find a way to negotiate it, and they just couldn't. But that is where you can start with, and where I try to get them to start with, well, then where is the line? Because now you're dealing with calling people out who have refused to be culturally silencing or colonizing, which is something that they would advocate. So it's, they have an absurd position. And that's exclusively in advocate circles. I actually brought that to the chair of gender studies, that incident, and they were kind of horrified. It was amusing, but you'd be surprised at how many of these crazy ideas exist. Well, no, you wouldn't actually.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm always surprised. You know, that's the sad part about it, is to an extent I'm always surprised over what the hell, you know. I feel like there's always something new going on, and you're always like, oh, what the hell? Like, what fresh hell is this? You know, what more can you be offended by? And it's literally everything and anything. Quickly jotting through this article here. They do actually bring up the Kimono Wednesdays from the Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of that makes sense. So, and basically what it talks about here is, and this is interesting, is cultural appropriation. These claims, at least in the West, and how like they protested this particular Kimono Wednesday, saying, as having not just this specifically, but in general, the kimono industry between 1982 and 2012, so 30 years, the sales declined from 2 trillion yen to 1/10 of that figure. And there used to be 6,300 retailers or tailors for kimonos in 1984, and now there's only 1,351, and that was as of 4 years ago. I'm sure by now it's gone down. And that has a lot to do with the fact that people just aren't buying them because they probably are too afraid of the whole cultural appropriation thing. I mean, how many million Japanese are there? There's 30-some million Japanese.
I can Google it. Oh, you
are. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Way off base. 127 million. That's a lot more than 30. My bad. I'm thinking of Canada. So 127 million people. That's a lot, but that's still a very, very small drop in the bucket for the world population. Crammed into a very small location too. But the idea there essentially is they want to expand out their culture. Don't Japanese are pretty much okay with that, aren't they? Like they embrace it, right?
I mean, I wouldn't want to generalize because I don't know every Japanese person, but I'd say that their culture has consistently been about giving out, or has consistently given objects of cultural significance, because that's they have a very unique style in a lot of ways, and they're very proud of it. What's interesting, though, you're kind of mentioning how that hurts Japan, or at least their kimono industry. There's an interesting divergence between the concept of cultural appropriation as it occurs in feminist philosophers' literature and feminist advocacy literature, where it's gone from the original concept of it was that because you exist in a culture where one culture is considered mostly normal, and in the US at least, it's definitely not Japanese culture. So whatever you do when you are trying to take on the appearance of Japanese culture, you are adding baggage to that cultural image that then you get to shed tomorrow. But someone who's Japanese and looks Japanese, whether or not they're wearing a kimono, has to deal with that baggage afterwards.
Yeah,
that's the original idea, and it has some weight to it. But
I don't disagree.
It's been moved to this idea of intellectual property, and that's where it falls apart.
I just feel like, the people that oftentimes argue about cultural appropriation are just doing it on behalf of other people. They're doing it to try to make themselves feel better. That's generally how I see it these days. I mean, there is some weight, I think, obviously, to what you're saying in terms of like elements of certain cultures then having the baggage on the actual person. But it's kind of like, I would say, as long as a person is, if they're looking at the culture and they are being, they're treating it with respect, I don't see a problem with that. Like the woman in question from the article, she's got a PhD in African art history from Princeton, speaks at Columbia, like is an educator at the Metropolitan Art Museum. Like this is not like some Yahoo off the street that's all like, I watched Black Panther, really like that Wakandan artwork. I want to come make Wakanda art here. They're not doing that. Like, that's not happening. And so, you know, like, I could understand that having a pushback, but this woman seems extremely qualified to be a curator of this particular exhibit. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, and as a result of that, it's very much going after her just because fucking reasons, you know. It's like, it's just, this is the way that, like, Twitter has crafted. I think a lot of it too, because a lot of this is on Twitter. That Twitter has very much crafted this type of narrative. You know what I mean? Like this quick put on blast narrative that's meant to have, you know, that's meant to be a certain way. That's meant to, I guess, I'm trying to think here. That's meant to, I don't know. It's like a quick serving activism, essentially.
Yeah, it's because it's, well, at least this is my opinion. I think it's because it's easier than studying the philosophy of it. I don't want to say who gave me this lecture because it could get someone in trouble, but there's a challenge, someone who's been part of gender studies programs and managing them. There's been an issue where they've actually exploded recently, and that degree was never intended to be as common as it's become. It arose at a time when early women's shelters and such had no one with skills in management, no one with skills in communication or social work. It was just anyone who could come out and had a cause to be there would be there. And that's why there was eventually a demand for highly skilled, educated people to manage larger operations to more efficiently help people in need. Which I think we can all agree on. So there was a utility to it, and there is still. It's just that these degrees are not especially, I don't want to say they're easy, but they're not especially rigorous in the same way that other degrees can be. So when you have a large influx of people who are doing this is one of the challenges that has come out of these programs is people who are, it used to be this group would be fairly marbled, racially very curdled. It was people of all races and creeds because they just took anyone who could do this. But as these degrees have become more common, people with the starting resources in life to be able to attend college and pursue these degrees, and odds are if they're pursuing a degree with less immediate market value, they're a little bit more affluent and they're not as worried about their income down the road. These people become hyper qualified for these positions. They actually pushed or are pushing a lot of people of color, people of different cultural backgrounds out of these organizations.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a counterintuitive effect of it, or of the program. And that's something I could see people responding to here, perhaps, but I think it's more about you don't want to learn the set of the entire justification for this idea. It's much easier just to point and say there is something that doesn't immediately look right to a person. And that's something you can rally behind in 3 minutes after looking at a Facebook article rather than reading Lugones and studying the philosophy of curdling or practices in racial purity, which is exactly what this is and exactly what she'd warned against. I
don't quite know. I'm not too up to date on what you're exactly referring to, but I think I get the gist of it. So I agree with you. But I'm gonna definitely jump over to the next person because we do have a line of people. But I appreciate you coming in, man, and very much food for thought. And it's a tough subject. It's very much a tough subject. So hopefully one day people will be able to actually look at it with some maybe objectivity and you know, not just scream one side or the other.
I agree. Well, take it easy.
Thanks a lot, man. Have yourself a good one. All right, so the next one we had up was Claude Sandshark here. Hey, what's up, man? You on the air?
Yeah. I know you got a passion for this, sort of a rant passion. I have a serious talk in this country, especially with how our info's done. Monopoly rules.
Okay, Monopoly. Yeah, no, I think Monopoly is definitely something worth talking about. You know, I mean, a lot of companies, it feels like some people would argue Amazon's gotten too big, Google's gotten too big. Walmart's gotten too big. What?
Sinclair.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sinclair video.
Oh, what from the video that I showed? Sinclair, sorry, Sinclair. Yeah, sorry, it was a little bit breaking up there in my ear. Yeah, Sinclair clearly 200 stations, but then you have Clear Channel, which is like the radio side of things, and they have they have a lot. Like, I mean, it's Clear Channel in San Diego. In order to get around the pesky FCC broadcast requirements for certain things, they bought a radio tower in Mexico, like right over the border. You can see it right over the fence in Mexico, where they're not bound by FCC laws of how much amp they can put out, how much power they can put out, and they run their station through there, and that's where they broadcast out like hundreds of miles. They have that shit cranked up. And that's for all of their stations. So yeah, there are a lot of people out there that definitely run monopolies. And I think looking at Sinclair is something maybe, 200. Are there 200 marketplaces in the United States? Right? Like, are there
very few regions, like congressional districts and the districts within that could be 200?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But okay, let me ask you this then. So you wanna sit there and have the laws re-examined. Is that what you're talking about?
Personally, we see with Google and other internet-based monopolies, such as Amazon, that there are some ways back in the Gilded Age of America where they would buy out the producer and the railroad tracks to make a monopoly. That way, it's a monopoly on information.
Okay.
And if the laws could affect that.
Well, I mean, people, it's going to be hard to like regulate the flow of information, right? Because how do you get around certain aspects of the information flow? It's you replace it. You replace. If you notice, op-eds have opinion pieces have replaced journalism, right? Like you look at. I mean, I'll just be fair. Look at what I do. What I do is not necessarily journalism. It's punditry at its best, and it's just like random shit talking at its worst. But even then, whatever flow of information I pass on to you guys is my interpretation of that information, my interpretation and my take on it. And there's some aspects where I'm right, and there's other aspects where I've been wrong. So it's going to be really hard to regulate the flow of news. Because if you start regulating the flow of news, you're going to get something along the lines of Russian state-sponsored media, like RT and those outlets that are out there and controlling what you see, what you hear, what goes out there. You see this quite a bit in China with them trying to right now shut down particular media sites or certain outlets or apps or whatever that might be critical of the communist regime that runs the country. That might be critical of President Xi getting, or President Xi, whatever his name is, getting a lifetime appointment to being president. Like there are countries out there that regulate the flow of information. I mean, fuck, look at North Korea. Every home has a propaganda squawk box. You can't even turn the thing off all the way. You can turn it down, but you can't turn it off all the way. And as a result of that, you got 24/7 propaganda coming down right into your ears. And that is something that is hard to discuss the regulation of. Now, what I'd like to see personally is more of a breaking up of monopolies in terms of like, these stations being more locally owned and dealing locally. But the thing is, we live in a capitalist country. There's no way to stop it. If there's no way to, you can't sit there and stop someone from purchasing something because they, unless they are going to be working on having an actual monopoly. And if Sinclair is not, because, okay, think of it like this, right? Sinclair may own 200 channels, 200 stations, but go to any market, right? You've got ABC, CBS, CW, Fox, NBC. Those are just your top 5, right? Those are just your 5 locals, and those are all generally affiliate. Then you might have a local one, like in San Diego, there's KUSI. KUSI is just a 24/7 news station, but it's a San Diego locally run, locally owned news station, and that's very popular in the region. And it's not, I could be a Sinclair, I have no idea, but you know, you're going to find these in other places. So because they don't have a direct death grip on that region, there's always going to be an alternative. That's how they get around those pesky monopoly laws. And what they want to do with their companies in the meantime is that's up to them because they own it, right? Like what that video showed was nothing that was illegal, but it was just damn right fucking creepy.
Yeah, no. That's the problem. These are big companies, rather, are always going to try to get more money. There ain't no way to talk about that unless there's a huge backlash on something.
Well, I'm hoping that this does give a bit of a backlash. I mean, like I said, John Oliver covered it about 9 months ago, and it was an interesting piece, and you can find it on YouTube. And then seeing this come out, I'm hoping that he goes back into it, dives into it again. The problem with Sinclair is that Sinclair pushes right-wing media, and I have nothing, inherently against right-wing media because they're allowed to have their opinion. But when they're coming out and, basically trying to say like everything else is fake news except for us, I have a problem with that because that's wholly disingenuous.
Some journalists and people like you who do stuff on YouTube just want like these bigger news networks that we know sort of puts either it's a small narrative or a big narrative. We just want them to say, hey, sometimes we run a narrative.
Yeah, and that's why I said that's why op-eds exist. Op-eds are there for the narrative, but there's definitely that. So anyway, I'm gonna bring in Spirit Man next because he's waiting, and but I appreciate you coming in, man, and we'll definitely talk again soon.
All right, don't turn into a train wreck soon.
I won't.
October.
I won't. All right, let's bring in Spirit Man here. What's going on, Spirit Man? How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's just doing the thing, doing the show. What's on your mind, man? What's on your mind?
Recently, there's been a hashtag that's been going around on Twitter called #ChangeTheChannel, and it's been flung at Doug and Rob and Doug Walker, who do the Nostalgia Critic. And as a fan of the Nostalgia Critic, it kind of pains me to read some of these confessions from behind the scenes of some of the stuff that's been happening. Mostly it's due to poor management behind the scenes for Channel Awesome.
I've heard something about that. I know Linkara left, and I know
it's not just Linkara.
Oh, okay. You have to understand. I'm not very up to date on who is the who of Channel Awesome. I know Linkara, I know Doug Walker. That's about it.
And currently, tomorrow actually, Obscurus Lupa, who was one of the contributors on the site before she left a couple years back, has been putting together a bunch of grievances from previous contributors, and so far it's gotten to about 50 different grievances. Some of these things just seem kind of odd to me, like not providing food or water for people on their movie sets, and that's in relation to their anniversary specials, like To Boldly Flee and Kikassia. So, some of this stuff just kind of baffles me.
Not providing food or water? That's fucking weird, man.
There was even one where one of the contributors got a script one day for a shoot, and apparently it was for a rape scene. Anniversary specials, and they actually have one of the deleted scripts.
But wasn't the rape scene, wasn't that written by Lindsay Ellis? Like, I distinctly remember there being, because Mr. Medicare has a series about Channel Awesome, about those guys, Tigwitick essentially, especially, and he did one, and he talked about Lindsay Ellis writing, it was like a rape song or something.
I don't really know about that one, but I have but the scene is just, they rewrote the scene because Lindsay Ellis was kind of against a lot of it, but it was still kind of like implied at that point in the final edit. So there was also accusations about embezzlement, buying a warehouse studio and not bothering to soundproof it. One for making anti-Gamergate videos. That was one of them.
Wait, when did they ever make anti-Gamergate videos? That I never saw. If that exists, I never saw it.
Yeah, Dan Olson.
Right. Dan Olson hates me, so he's mentioned me before on panels, right? Me and Sargon. He's not fans. He was at VidCon last year. I found out he had breakfast with Shoe on Head and Armored Skeptic. So, okay, I remember that now. That was all about the CP on 8chan. That was all that shit.
And there was one that was kind of shocking. One of the complaints was there was a General Wiseau-esque approach to filmmaking and treatment of cast and crew, right down to people actually fainting on set. There was even camera shenanigans, and a guy was covered that has covered both the room and his. Or sorry, never mind. It basically was on one of the sets, like people started fainting because there was no air conditioning inside of the room. And I'm like a lot of this stuff, because I've done producing before on other projects, to micromanage. Like if you're doing a shoot and you're using like high wattage lights, wouldn't it be better to have some sort of place where you could have cast and crew just cool off?
Yeah.
5, have a thing of water. Like, these are simple things, and the fact that some of this stuff wasn't taken care of, boggling to me.
You know, it happens. I've been on movie sets before where I did one, it was like in the fall of 2011. It's supposed to be 2 nights, 5 hours a night, $100 total. So, $10 an hour was about what you got back then. And it turned into 2 14-hour nights. And still the $100, I've done it where like I was a sound guy, the same shoot. They actually put me in the trunk of a car for 2 hours, driving through the streets of Burbank, because I was monitoring audio from the driver and the passenger. And I couldn't, I had to hide in the trunk in order to not be visible in the backseat of the car. And they went over one really large pothole and forgot I was in the back of the car. So like I just hit I smacked the freaking trunk of this thing. This was like a rented like 64 Plymouth or something. It's possible I dented it. I have no idea. Don't even care. But yeah, I mean, like there's the thing is when you're at that level, they literally you're looking to get shit done, right? It boils down to this idea there that shit just has to get done, and that's kind of where we are. And, like I look at, so what you're telling me, because just based on what you've told me, Channel Awesome comes across as highly, highly, highly unprofessional. And that is not an unknown thing. I mean, I was looking at their SimilarWeb numbers, which is basically trying to show you how much traffic they get per month, what their top referring sites are, and what their top referral sites are. And they get about, 2 million, they got 2 million views last month on their website. That's the clicks they got on their website. Not their YouTube channel, nothing else, just on the website. And they get a lot of stuff from Cinemassacre. They bring a lot to Cinemassacre, and they also send a lot to Cinemassacre. And even atop of the fourth wall was about 5% of their referral traffic went to him, which 5% of 2 million views, 2 million clicks is not bad, actually. That's not bad at all. That's about what, 40,000 clicks? Am I right on that? About 40,000 clicks. So I mean, it's not bad. So yeah, you can sit there and see like there's clearly lots of problems there. And honestly, what it is people have had it out for them for quite some time. Now I'm not saying that like no way are they right, like or they're not right. This is all sham. No, I'm pretty sure they've done some shady shit. But I've heard from people who've worked for them before under like blistered thumbs. Was that them?
So, I think it was that guy with the glasses, and then it changed to Channel Awesome once they got Mike McCond to be the CEO of Channel Awesome. it seems like most of these complaints are generally towards the direction of Mike. Some of these are related to Doug and Rob. Out like where are they gonna go from here? Because obviously, I don't want Channel Awesome to die out. Roger could have like his videos in his early years. I would not have made Flashback on my channel.
Yeah.
That. But then I read the number one grievance was this one, and this one's really sad. So apparently they fired an employee who had worked for them literally every day, including holidays and weekends, because she had to take time off for surgery. She was fired, and then they held her severance hostage. Contract saying that she wouldn't work for another media site for 2 to 4 years.
Wow. Yeah, I would never sign anything. I would never sign anything like that. That's just too insane. That's too fucking. That's too nuts.
Really dumb.
That's yeah. I mean, the thing is, I would like there to be, if there is in fact, these kind of allegations, I'd like there to be some proof of it. To be honest with you, I'm not saying that there's not. Just I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, like with the, sexual assault scene, they actually do have some photo evidence of the script that they were given.
Yeah.
$60,000 or $90,000 from fans. There is a video that's I have a link to all the grievances.
Yes, go ahead and send it over to me. I'll take a look at it. I don't think I'll make a video about it, but I'm curious to be up to date on what's going on.
To you over Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's fine, or you can send it to me message me here on Discord. But I got to go in about 15 minutes, so I'm gonna jump into another person real quick. But I might jump in the Discord after. But send me off what's going on with that thing, and I'll take a look at it.
See you later.
All right, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you coming in. All right, so finally tonight we're gonna bring in Kylor, who's been asking like crazy in the chat to come on in. So we'll bring him in here for the final one of the night because that's just how we roll. Kylor, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, senpai?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you. What's going on with you, man? How's your night going?
Oh, hold on. I have the chat still on. Oh, hey. I still have the video of you on.
Oh, yeah. You're probably going to want to turn that down.
So I had this really weird dream the other night.
Okay.
I can't remember most of it, but I remember the part where, I open this door and I see my aunt and Donald Trump in the bathtub together for some reason, and my aunt is dumping rotten fish heads on him. Hello?
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm just trying to imagine. So your aunt is in the bathtub and Donald Trump is pouring fish heads on her?
No, the other way around. And for
some
reason,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and for some reason I say something and he starts after me for some reason. And for some reason, I start yelling for Jank from the Young Turks to come save me from his wrath.
Interesting. So, yeah, I have no idea what any of that means. I'm no way near a licensed therapist or a dream interpreter. I am simply just an idiot with a YouTube channel.
That sounds fun.
Well, yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so I mean. I don't know. I'm sorry. I have no idea how to respond to that. It's an interesting dream. I just, I hope he didn't wake up with nocturnal emissions. I just hope it wasn't one of those weird sex dreams we all have every once in a while.
A few stores ago, you talked about your neighbor coming over to your house.
I've had a neighbor stop by a couple times. I generally don't tend to speak to my neighbors very much.
Okay, did your neighbor come to your house with laptop in hand and his pants around?
Oh, right. Yeah, the ransom porn thing. This happened years ago, man. Like 4 or 5 years ago now. It happened. Actually, wait, I can probably look it up and tell you. I did a video about it.
I'm asking, did he come to your house with his pants around his ankle, holding his
No,
laptop?
his pants were down, his pants were up, his laptop was fine. It was just funny to see. I should have grabbed a photo of it or something, but it was that's all it was. It was just, him looking at something on his wife's laptop and clicking around like people tend to fucking do every once in a while. But that was really about it. I had it fixed for him in like a couple hours, once I figured out what it was and everything else. That was about it. So is there anything else you want to talk about, or is that anything on your mind?
You ever read about that story about where the woman was raped by a Pokemon for Pokemon Go?
No, I have not. I haven't read a story about a woman being raped by Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Now, raped while playing Pokemon Go, or like she claims that a Pokemon came out
by a Pokemon. I'm
I've
a story about that.
If you can find that particular story and send it to me, I will gladly take a look at that. But I've never heard of a woman being raped by a Pokemon because they don't exist.
Happen.
Yeah, so that's a little bit weird. I mean, like I could see there being a story of a woman like out playing Pokemon Go by herself and then being attacked. As horrible as that is, that's something I could see happening. Very similar to the woman who discovered the dead body in a river as she was out trying to find water Pokemon in Idaho right after the game launched a couple years ago. That happened. I fully expect stories like that to coming out again when there is the Ghostbusters ARG game, or the AR game coming out, and as well as the next Fantastic Beasts game, which is the Harry Potter game. That's gonna be coming out.
Oh, there it is. A Russian woman claims a Pokemon Go monster raped her as she slept. Posted in the Discord.
Okay. And no, it's what the fuck? Hold on here. What is this shit? What is this from? August 2016. How did I fucking miss this story? What in the shit? How did I fucking miss this thing? Hold on here. We're gonna take a look at this right here. You guys in the chat, you guys gotta see this shit. Hold on. Okay. So it says, a woman tells police she was raped by Pokemon Go character after she felt an assault and the virtual reality game detected the creature in her bedroom. A woman said she woke up to find a Pokemon on top of her in bed. She had been playing the popular game in her home before she slept. Police dismissed her claims and told her to seek psychiatric help. That seems about right. That seems wholly about right here. So is this was it a Charmander? Was she raped by a Charmander? Police say a young woman has lodged a formal complaint that she'd been raped by a Pokemon. Okay. She told officers she was sexually assaulted by a giant Pokemon in her apartment. The married woman, whose name has not been released, has reportedly been playing Pokemon Go. She claims she woke up to find a huge Pokemon laying on top of her body and says it was raping her. Was it like a fucking Magikarp or something? What is this shit? The woman says the Pokemon disappeared when she jumped out of bed, but says the app on her phone could still detect the same virtual character's presence in her bed. Oh my god. Her friend says here that there are too many Pokemon in her place, and even the dog can sense them. He says the dog barks whenever she plays Pokemon Go. Okay. Well then, we've got a woman who's been apparently raped by a Charmander. You learn something new every day. I don't quite know how the fuck I missed this one back in the day when back a couple years ago. But there you got it, folks. There you got it. Yeah, okay. You thought you see everything. Just saying. Well, thank you for that, Kylo. I appreciate the. Can
I ask you one more thing before?
Yeah, sure, man. What's up? What did you want to ask?
Do you think I'm trying to say it, you know. Okay.
It's
okay. Do you think if Anita Sarkeesian said all that feminazi stuff in Scotland, she would be in prison with Dankula?
No, not at all. No one would look at what she says as being anything that would be remotely considered anti-Semitic.
I mean, if people call her a feminazi like they are so often called.
Yeah, they might call, if they called her a feminazi, they could be in jail next to Dank. That could be a thing. But no, there's no. No, unfortunately not. Not unfortunately. She hasn't said anything. Look, Anita has shitty opinions, but she hasn't said anything that's, is going to get her in any bit of trouble or nothing. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm still thinking about that. I'm still thinking about like Charizard, like just completely like raping a chick. That just makes like no fucking sense. Like, how would you come to that conclusion? I woke up and the Pokemon was on top of me, and then no one was there when I moved. It's because it's like a figment of your fucking imagination?
Oh, I guess that's all for me.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming in.
Oh, goodbye, Senpai. See you at Kilroy.
I'll be there. I'll be there, definitely. I'll talk to you later, man. What the fuck? Charmander fucking... That's some shit. Isn't that some shit? That's just some shit right there. I'm sorry. Just that article. How did I miss that? How I cover some of the craziest fucking shit that I can fucking find. And how the hell did I miss it's fucking Charmander smashing that sliding in to a married woman's DMs and shit. How the fuck did I miss that? Like yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. So there we go on that one, folks. But as that is the final call of the night, I think that is a good place to wrap it up. Despite all of the technical problems that we had this evening, predominantly me just having issues with a couple stories and everything else, because they're still figuring out the new format. I appreciate everyone sticking around with me. We had a close to, I think, around 80 people watching at one point in time. Still rocking the 67 right now. I just really appreciate everyone coming in. I'll be back on tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard. And if you want to jump into the Discord, then you can. I might be able to jump in a few, but there are a lot of people in there right now, and they're having a good old conversation. That's command sign Discord, and you guys can come in there and check that out. So anyway, my name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, and peace out.